Let's fight! A good evening to each and every one of you, wherever you're joining us from around the world this evening. Let's fight! Let's fight, guys. Great to see you. Trust you guys have had a good weekend. You did something productive. Trust you guys have had a great day today, whether you were at work, you stayed in, whatever you did. We trust that you did it well. Welcome in the ring to each and every one of you. Those of you who are joining us on Twitter, those of you joining us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, yes, the whole facet. Good to see each and every one of you guys. We're still looking at budget 2022 and the Oneidge factor. Oh my God. The saboteur, Oneidge, the same one. Oneidge the saboteur. Good to see each and every one. We're coming up to that, folks. We're coming up. And we're going to join this evening as well by the one and only Christopher Jones. Make sure that could be a word. Make sure you share the program and you also smash that emoji button wherever you guys are picking us up from. It is our privilege to be here with each and every one of you. We are ensuring that we are shared through to all the right places as well. Lots of information to share with you guys. The opposition chief whip, Christopher Jones, should be stopping by this evening, and we are really looking forward to our conversation with him. Good to see each and every one of you. Claire Capel, Basil Clark, I see Jamal Jordan is here as well. Rowena Williams, a good evening to each and every one of you, except Oneidge Waldron. I hope the guys have that for us this evening. Except Oneidge. Except, we can tell y'all why. Except, Shanizi, Shanizi, a little snake. Except Oneidge. Except. Good to see each and every one of you. Wilton Blue, good to see you. Gail Alicock, Joyce Pierce Kingston, great to see you as well. Except, good night to all of you. Except Oneidge. Facebook user, even you, no name. Facebook user, Gwyneth Jones, Myrna Monroe, Nicola Daniels. Guys, we trust that you have had a fantastic weekend, a fantastic day. Pace and power in 2022. Pace and power. Folks, tomorrow is the first day of February, and tomorrow we're going to start our morning show. Light news, light information, setting the pace for your day, setting the agenda for the nation, setting the agenda for the Caribbean and the rest of the world. So make sure that you tune into our new morning program. We're going to be on tomorrow at 8. God spare life, as we say, God willing. We're going to be on at 8 right here on social media. And then you're going to join us for our midday Below the Belt podcast. And then we're right back here in the ring, guys. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 8 sharp. Good to see you as we launch our morning program. Stop by and have some coffee with us. And I don't know if we can get a little toast and some bacon. Toast and bacon. We can get a little bread, a little tennis roll with a little cheese. Good to see each and every one of you this evening. Mark Allman and Marlon Thomas and Ann Singh, Marcia Griffith, Melissa April. Good to see each and every one of you. Good night to each and every one of you. Except Oneidge. Except Oneidge. Good to see each and every one of you guys. I don't know about you, but I am excited to head into the fight card this evening. Lots and lots of information to share with you guys. Rihanna name calling. Rihanna name calling. I'm almost ashamed to call the other name who calling. Next to Rihanna name. Joe Hamilton. He name calling. Rihanna name calling. Joe Hamilton name calling. Oneidge name calling. A lot of people name calling. Catfish name calling. Lots of folks name calling this evening. Good to see each and every one of you, wherever you guys are joining us from this evening. It is our privilege, it's our delight to have each and every one of you in the ring. We'd have it no other way. We would have it no other way. Our beautiful, fantastic, peace-loving, uncontroversial folks like Adele Semple, like Owen Bacchus, Koana Mingo, Roxanne Odessa Jacobs, Volme Wilson, Nicola Best, Nicole Landon Welchman. Good to see each and every one of you guys. I don't know about you, but let's get to it. And let's fight, folks. Wherever you're joining us from around the world, welcome to our humble program, In the Ring. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We trust you guys have had a good day. Just now I'm going to have a bell. Hold on. Bell. Ping, 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 ping. Welcome in the ring. Let's get to it, folks. Let's get to it. Signs of the times. Signs of the times. Folks, I think like the world ending soon, you know. Y'all get your affairs in order. Get your affairs in order. I think the world coming to an end very, very soon. Signs of the times, folks. That's where we begin this evening. Signs of the times. Just over the weekend, a boat captain from this boat, the Malali, the MV Malali, the boat captain faces suspension now after he failed a breathalyzer test. After he failed a breathalyzer test for the second time. For the second time. German Blackman is his name. On duty and under heavy influence. Heavy influence. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, I listened to some of the government, the installed regime, some of the parliamentarians this afternoon, and I thought they were out under the influence too. I thought they were like Mr. Williams, Mr. Blackman here, Mr. German Blackman. I thought they were like him, under the influence. I listened to Jafar Ali from Region 5, Region 6. I thought Jafar Ali, under the influence, some of the things I heard. I heard Kwame McCoy in the National Assembly today. I swear, Kwame was under the influence. When I heard some things, and that little snake Oneidge, when I hear she, I said, definitely, the honorable member under the influence. So this is part of the information we're following this evening. German Blackman, the captain of the Malali, faces suspension after failing a breathalyzer test on duty for the second time. Signs of the times, folks. Where we going? So when you see the boat swaying, sir, right? You see the boat make a dash across to that point. You say to yourself, it's pretty bad. But then you say to yourself, Captain knows best. You know the man hands inebriated at the wheels there. Right? Snatch the wheel, Father. Snatch the wheel. You're inebriated. Signs of the times, folks. Moving along in the fight card. Moving along. Look what happened here. Oh, this has become a mantra. It's not Ghana, it's Guyana. It's not a real place. It's not a real place. Every day, there is something that convinces us even further. It is not a real place at all. Look why we say that. You know the fellow. This fella here is accused of killing his stepson. Last week, we featured this. He went home and he claimed that the man that his spouse didn't finish cooking in time. And so, according to the reports we have, he proceeded to assault her. And this 19-year-old son stepped in. It is said Sean Bob, the stepfather, pulled out a knife and dealt the stepson a fatal blow to his pelvic area. Ended his life. And then he went on the run. But the police found him. The police found him over the weekend at Mahika. Disguised. They found him. Sean Bob. So this is the before when he went on the run, and this is how they found him on the run. Disguised as a woman. Now, I think Sean Bob is past women in both instances with the abuse and then how he presented himself here. Women all over this country took offense when they saw the hair, when they saw the makeup, right? I mean, they told us some MUA, is it or MAU, some makeup artists, MUA, right? They do this kind of work here. They do this kind of work, but they said Sean couldn't pass. They said Sean couldn't pass, right? And they called Sean some names that got Mudwater in problems right now. Right? They called Sean Bob some names, the same names, allegedly, that was said by Mudwater about other people. Right? That's the names they call Sean. Folks, Ghana is not a real place. So this is how Sean started. And this is how we end up in Mahika over the weekend. Y'all think this country easy? It's not easy. These are the stories we're tracking. Killed the woman. Killed the child. And the woman was recovering according to the report we covered last week for you guys. 19 years old, lost his life at the hands of his stepfather. The cross-dressing Sean Bob. The cross-dressing Sean Bob. And that's the information we have on that this evening. As we have additional details when you go into court and so forth, we'll keep you guys posted. But this was Sean Bob over the weekend in Mahika. Yep. It's not a real place. Fires on the PPP. Them boys come back. The fires of the PPP since August 2nd, 2020. Let me steady up on this chair. August 2nd, 2020. Every week is a fire. This is the oil-producing republic and the fire capital of the world. That's the name of this. It is the oil-producing Republic of Guyana and the fire capital of the world. Every week is a fire. Every weekend, high-risk Saturday is a fire. And last weekend was no different. Last week, you had 3 fires. Weekend, another fire. Fire Nation. We told you guys, 2 kinds of people in this country. You got Fire Nation, people like Dave, who's worked for me in this studio and so on. These Fire Nation people. And then you got Fight Nation. That's the rest of us. Fight Nation. Fire Nation was on it over the weekend. And this is what transpired, folks. At the GNSC WAF, the Guyana National Shipping Corporation, just over the weekend, a fire of unknown origins ripped through the central workshop there at the Guyana National Shipping Corporation. It's just last week. The Park and Bond, their wharf, went up, just last week. And this week, after much work trying to get water, the Guyana Fire Service managed to contain the blaze to this area, the central workshop of the Guyana National Shipping Corporation. This thing raising a lot of eyebrows now. Because we hearing some rumors that said these guys were on this air for shore base and all kinds of things. It's a strange occurrence, that fire ripping through the wharf. A strange occurrence. And the fire chief, came out today to say arson is suspected. You remember the last time he said it was arson with the Parkan wharf there? GNIC, Guynek, who looks after the wharf there, came out and said, no, there's no evidence to suggest that. So we hope in this new instance, 1 week later, we hope that the fire chief has done his work. We are hopeful the fire chief has done his work. But these are some of the things we're following. And we haven't come into the new week yet, Delia and Pamela McGregor, Jamal Jordan and Marcia Agard, Nandi Melissa Lewis, John Morgan. These are just some of the issues we're covering that transpired over the weekend. Fight Nation, Fire Nation at it. Over the weekend, also on the fight card, we've been telling you guys, tracking these fires. Because we all think we're joking when we say it's a Fire Nation we have here. This is just some fires over the last year. We said to you guys since they came in, just over the last year. Folks, look at left of your screen. That's half the city, Half the national capital city. Breakdown Police Station. Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. OPR, the Office of Professional Responsibility, the DPP's office, Bundong. Charlestown Post Office, Bundong. There's a property at Charles Camp and Charlotte Street, Bundong. Sharon's Mall, Bundong. Leparkan, Bundong. Over the weekend again, GNIC, Guyana National Shipping Corporation rather. Fire. Cross Street and Working Rust last week. 12 homeless, fire. Chinese store in Regent Street, fire. And then you had rumors of fire. NIS, GPO Camberville, Ministry of Local Government, and regional development. Folks, is a fire nation. And this is just in the city. Over the last year, we told you guys, we do our homework here. Or for you who didn't understand, we homework here. Fight nation, fire nation at it. Fire nation at it. We've been chronicling, folks, the fires of the PPP. The fires of the PPP. Sesh. We know. Some of y'all live for this. Sesh. Session. Some of you know it as that. Session. That's what we got for y'all tonight. It's real session out there, you know. Session. Photo of the day. The session. Photo of the day. Photo of the day. Love this part. Some of you trying to guess what's the photo of the day. Yes, you guessed it right. Those of you who did, Rihanna pregnant? Rihanna is knocked up. Rihanna is knocked up. Folks, I feel like I'm a little out of it because like I didn't even know Rihanna was dating. Since Chris Brown, I said Rihanna celibate and she's now going to live her life and with the three vows: chastity, obedience, and poverty. Chastity, poverty, and obedience. That's the three vows that the nuns take. I thought was there's where we were heading. Rihanna is pregnant. But the session, Rihanna is pregnant, folks. Rihanna is pregnant. Congratulations to her. Even pregnant, I think Rihanna look a little sexy here. I don't know if y'all think, but if Rihanna thing, I would take one for the team. Rihanna look hot here. Rihanna look hot here. I mean, I hope folks, Rihanna, congratulations to her. And we are being made to understand. I was now catching up to the news. So after I learned Rihanna's pregnant, I says, who won? But a couple names get called. So I say, hold on. I did telling the Chris Brown era. What happened to Chris Brown? Now, the folks say that this guy is, the guy name is ASAP Rocky. I know ASAP as soon as possible. Y'all hear the accent there? I just started talking about Rihanna, I got into the accent mode. Right? ASAP Rocky is the fella who has been identified as a lucky guy. I mean, this guy probably feels like $1.7 billion right now. Right? That is Rihanna's net worth. And then we learned that ASAP Rocky is worth about $10 million US. Not Guyanese dollars. $10 billion. But Rihanna is worth estimated about $2 billion. So, but ASAP Rocky had to have done something. I want to read the book when ASAP write the book. How I knocked up Rihanna. I want to read the book. Right? I want to read the book. How I knocked up Rihanna. Right? But as I told you guys, it's a lot of names calling. A couple. Don't let me say a lot. Don't let me put Rihanna in them brackets. Right? Don't let me put Rihanna in them brackets. Well, a lot of names calling. There's a couple names. The other person, right? Because if Sonia Parag and so on look at this picture, she can say this Photoshop. This Photoshop. Another name is being called. Right? Another name is being called. And the other name we are hearing this evening, we're hearing Sonia Parag just said this photo here, Photoshop. The other name we're hearing is Mosley. We're hearing Garden Mosley got a fingernail here. Sonia Parag said this is the right photograph. They said Garden Mosley got a fingernail here. Garden said he don't care. He could be a good stepfather. Whatever. This is what he wants. We hear his Garden. We hear his Garden. That's what we're hearing. Now, folks, this cybercrime thing hot now. So let me say, it is alleged it's Garden. Let me say, it is alleged it's Garden. Now, I said this thing has a possibility because all the time Rihanna the quiet. I remember I told you I need Chris Brown era. I did tell back by Chris Brown. And I know Garden quiet all this time to himself. I know some people like to sell the limelight. They like everybody in the business and the kind of stuff. Not everybody like Debbie Morgan Rhonda Ferguson and Stacey Lewis them, and Seymour George. Some people like to do the thing quiet, pretend there's a sister, pretend there's a brother, that kind of thing. Do the thing quiet. So I say maybe, because I no garden with anybody, really and truly. And since Chris Brown hit Rihanna and we all give you a box and a kick and say, me no Rihanna with nobody. So I said, this thing's a possibility. And since Sonia Parag said the previous photograph with ASAP, what's the man's name again? Oh my Lord. What's the fella's name? Let me refer to my notes. ASAP Rocky, and so on is Photoshop. Since Sonia Parag said ASAP Rocky's Photoshop, I said, this thing now is a possibility because long now we're rooting for Garden. We say, Garden big, but Ian thing. So congratulations. If it's ASAP, if it's Garden, we happy anyhow. You understand me? We know Garden could get good parenting instinct. If it's ASAP, if it's Rocky, we don't care. Barbados and Guyana coming together. Irfan is sent Curry for Mia. We can see how this thing is a possibility. So that is on that front, folks. That is on that front. We're happy for Garden if that is the case. Is about time. That being said, congratulations to the couples. Congratulations to the entanglement. Congratulations. Whatever it is, congratulations. That being said, spotted. You all know under this section, when we see some people with little notoriety or that kind of thing, they got little something. You know them from being about. There's the about. We give them a little mention here to let you know that we've seen them about the place. Because you may have lost track with them because they're not big like Korean and so on. They're not a household name. So we keep tabs on people from time to time just to keep you guys informed. And so guess who we spot? Remember we told you all about Anil the other day in Parliament in the fancy clothes? Right? Well, we spot somebody else. We showed you all this. We say Anil, land, Anil thinks he's Amitabh Bachchan. That is, remember Beyonce had her alter ego, Sasha Fierce. Well, y'all know so young. You hear that? I show y'all my age now. Beyonce had Sasha Fierce. Well, Anil's alter ego is Amitabh Bachchan. Right? Is a thing between Amitabh Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan. That's what he's aiming for here. So Anil touched down in the pinstripe suit. But now we're hearing that this is now the official uniform of PPP members of government. The pinstripe is the official uniform of PPP ministers. The pinstripe. Because we say Anil trying something here. Now, when you look at this, right, pinstripe is an old-fashioned thing. Right? We say Anil went in the archives. He's now trying to bring back pinstripe. So we say it could work. If he try hard, he could bring back pinstripe. Right? Not knowing is the official uniform because we there in National Assembly, drinking we water and doing what? We minding we own business. And bam! Spotted! Joe Hamilton also in uniform. Joe Hamilton lash out in the pinstripe. He is now conforming to what BJ has asked them. Everybody must wear their pinstripe. Joe landed in the pinstripe. He said, yes, sir, I am going to do as I'm told. I want my job. And so the official uniform of the PPP male ministers has been launched. So you had the currency last week. You got the uniform this week. And then, boys, I don't know. Maybe if he had gone with a plain tie and so on, the pinstripe thing could have worked. But this thing tie and this thing, I feel like they're trying to hypnotize me in some kind of way. If you only spin Joe, I could be hypnotized because of all the lines and dots and all of those things. But, if that's what y'all want your uniform as ministers, you want pinstripe. It looked like a good jail suit anyhow. So you're going down the right road. Y'all keep that. It could pass for a good jail suit. So practice makes permanent. And so we spot Joe Hamilton in his uniform also. Polari Pinstripe, that's his new name. His name is Polari Joe because at some point the Joe used to sell Polari, the PPP party want Afro-Guyanese in the party. Joe said, well, Polari making it, you can try them, and then he ended up as a minister. So it's now Pinstripe Polari Joe. Pinstripe Polari Joe. Spotted Joe Hamilton in the official uniform of the PPP. Anil wore his own last week. Joe confirmed this week. Pinstripe. It's a pinstripe party. Moving on in the fight card, folks. Moving on in the fight card. Spotted. Pinstripe Polari Joe. Well, you know COVID got me in the grips like an anaconda. And we're going under. Only a miracle could save us. Only a miracle could save us. 2 more deaths today. 86 new cases. The deaths continue. COVID-19 continues. Unabated. Frank name calling every. Frank gave up. Frank has given up. And this is what the dashboard looks like at our end. As we said, 86 new cases, 2 deaths, 1,168 total deaths, 100 PPP. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Active cases, 11,109. And then you got total confirmed cases, well over 45,000. Margaret Craig Jackson, Marlene DeYoung, Orin Don Cook, Michelle McKay, Yanet, Paula Johnson, Donna Leach, Chisung Henry. Good to see each and every one. This one, these boys got me 45,000 confirmed cases. The numbers keep going every day. The deaths keep going every day. And this is where we are. I know some of you are wrapped up, locked into the program, but don't forget to share the live stream. Don't forget to smash that emoji button. We want to see how you guys are faring out there. We want to see how you guys are feeling. Share the live stream. Good to see each and every one of you. Pace and power in 2022. And we are moving on, folks. Moving on in the fight card. Quickly, swiftly, as we said to you guys, Christopher Jones supposed to be joining us. As we talk about the cost of living, y'all know things going up. Y'all know things going up. I know things going up. Bora, Belanje, bread, you name it. Planting. Every goddamn thing in this country going up. Going up. Today, the debates over the budget has started. And my God, our real MVPs came out. The real MVPs in the National Assembly came out. Those folks batted really well. We hope you guys tuned in and listened to the debate. We hope so. We hope so. Did you hear our folks today? Everybody represented the real MVPs, peoples. The real MVP. Ganesh, wash the tail of local government. Wash the tail. It's rigged, you know. No budgetary allocation for local government 2022 is rigging. They know if they go back to the people right now, they will not be elected. The shame. And this is how they're rigging. They canceled the whole election, made no budgetary preparations for it. So right now, you got Claudette at GCOM earning money on the false pretense. The new CEO, Vishnu Prasad, earning money on the false pretense. Jalen Jagabat and Trench Crapo, he too earning money on the false pretense. No money for local government. What are they doing there? Still earning money on a daily basis. So Ganesh wailed into them on that everybody represented. Y'all hear Amanza? Amanza washed the skin as well, telling them how budget 2022 is disrespectful and discriminatory to the poor people of this country. Amanza wailed into them. And then Chris went on the same trend, the same thought process, how budget 2022 was absolutely disrespectful. That's what it is, you know. The disrespectful, bad Diane Fordyce, Momit Fraud, Anthony Higgins, Arjun, Valerie Archibald, the disrespectful. And then you had you had our very own Ronald Cox there following up, Ricky Ramsroop, and then we had Hemraj Rajkumar, we had Sherwin Holder. Oh my God, was licks like peas for the PPP. Oh Father, y'all hear Joe presentation? Y'all hear Joe Hamilton? Y'all hear Kwame? Y'all hear Jafar Ali? My God, I shame that these guys as ministers and senior members of an administration, even though they install, I shame for them. When you listen to them, they're not justifying them big salaries, you know. They aren't justifying them big salaries at all. So kudos, respect and manners for them guys for representing in the house. Moving on in the fight, Carl, as I said, budget 2022 being debated in the National Assembly currently. Ashley, oh Father. Oh, I want to be in Ashley's shoe right now. If there was a budget more hated than this one, bring it and show me. This is the most hated budget in the world. Everybody says there is nothing in this budget for poor people besides Ashley Singh, besides the PPP. They are trying to convince us who's sharing the damn live stream, who's smashing the emoji button. They're trying to convince us that this budget good for we. This is like giving we Senate parts 3 times per day, every day of the month for 5 years. And say, it's good for you. You understand me? When the Senate parts don't flush out all the toxins, it's flushing out your organs now. Right? It's ripping you out inside out. This is budget 2022. Steadfast against all challenges, they say. Resolute, building our one Guyana. What does that mean? Only God knows. They need another budget just to interpret what that means. Steadfast against all challenges. Resolute in building one Guyana. Well, folks, sometimes these guys might say, oh, we are up new AFC, so they expect X, they expect Y. But it's when the independent people give their analysis on the budget and it coincides with your own reasoning, your own understanding, your own deductions, then we say, hey, we are going to tell me now. We are going to tell me now. And then there is Oneidge Waldron. The Oneidge factor. Oneidge the saboteur. Oneidge told the National Assembly today. And Oneidge told this nation, well, the 10 people who are watching, Oneidge told them. Oneidge said, we have no proof that their government is corrupt. We have no proof that their government is racial. Hold on. Oneidge, same Oneidge Waldron, who stood in the National Assembly, put her hand on the Bible, and swear to this country, I am not a dual citizen, and I can take up my seat rightfully and legally as a member of parliament. Same Oneidge. Same Oneidge Waldron told this country, well, the 10 that are watching, told those 10 persons, no evidence of racism in this country, no evidence that there's corruption. Oneidge. She listened to Molly and Marla. She listened to Uncle Pone, clearly, because send you the tapes. That's what Oneidge told us. Same Oneidge that the Chief Justice, Roxanne George Wiltshire, when that case with her dual citizenship was taken to court, Roxanne looked over the evidence, take a glance at your passport, take a glance at the documents from the U.S. Embassy or whichever embassy it was, and deducted, yes, Oneidge, when you put your hand on the Bible, you are lying to the people of this country. Same Oneidge. Same Oneidge. 35 minutes. 30 minutes is given to ministers to speak the budget presentation. And then they're allowed an extra 5 minutes to conclude, to wrap up. And Oneidge, Waldron, spoke for more than half hour on APNU AFC manifesto. More than a half hour. This is the installed Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. Spoke for about 2 minutes on tourism, something they did in Linden. She's alleging in tourism they did in Linden. That was all. Spoke for more than a half hour on the APNU AFC budget. Right? Oneidge, same Oneidge. Right? You know why she knows the manifesto? Oneidge worked with me on this manifesto. Work with us in government. And Oneidge stand up there in the National Assembly to say how 3 years in, a no confidence motion was passed and we were illegal. Same snake, the saboteur, but Oneidge sat down in the same government, earned salary for 5 years, same snake, same saboteur, right? Earned salary for 5 years, and now going to stand up in the assembly after she sell me out to the PPP, take buyout from the PPP, and she can say to this nation now, well, the 10 people who they're watching she, that we have no evidence of corruption, we have no evidence of racism. So we say, Oneidge, what the Sharon Hicks, the PS from Indigenous Affairs, they're doing when the man said he's paying shit $200,000 a month for contract as kickbacks. I don't know if there's in you church you call it offering, and you church you call it that as a donation. I don't know. Is that a thank you? I don't know how you characterize that. But Oneidge says APNU AFC coalition has no basis for saying the PPP is corrupt, nor they are racist. I don't know. It just happens that the majority of people fired over the last year, 99.9% of them are Afro-Guyanese. It just happens like that. It just happens. It just happens that right now at Guy Oil, the majority of people being fired, if not all the people being fired by the HR manager there, happens to be Afro-Guyanese. I don't know. I don't know if you take a look at that yet, Oneidge. But Oneidge, as I said, spent all of her time, all of her time on the APNU AFC manifesto. On the APNU AFC man, it was the strangest thing. It was the strangest thing. And here is a minister installed, given an allocation for the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, and spent almost no time in the National Assembly dealing with that. It was the strangest things to behold. Who's sharing the live stream for us this evening? Who is going to smash that emoji button? This is what transpired, folks. This is what transpired. I said, Oneidge, I can tell the people what you did in this assembly here. I'm going to talk to the Guyanese people this evening and let them know what you did and the things you said. You put your hands on the Bible, lied to this country you're not a dual citizen. It took the courts. And Roxanne George Wiltshire, the Chief Justice, the Honorable, to tell this nation, you know what? This is a little scam here, you know. This is a little scam. Now, she secretly resigned. They swear she back as minister. Quick, you know. And she coming to lecture us. She coming to lecture us in the National Assembly about who is illegal and who is a fraud and all that, you know, rigging and all that. She stood in the National Assembly trying to rig the process to become a member of parliament. And she lecturing us about rigging. Oh, wow. What an age we're living in. So that's part of the happenings in the National Assembly. But as I told you guys, you know, we talk about our concerns in this budget. You guys on social media, you've listened to the budget presentation. You've seen the numbers. You've read it by now. You've read the reports in the media. But when we talk, they're going to come and say, oh, it's APNU AFC. It's APNU AFC. I hope Chris is still going to join us. It's APNU AFC. And so they discredit what you say. You always have that paint on you. When they report on this program, it's never the host of In the Ring, Sherry Duncan. It's APNU AFC parliamentarian. And so your views apparently suddenly become jaundiced. Right? But Raman McRae, who has been doing budget reviews for the last 32 years, if not 33 years. They've been reviewing the budget after budget, for the last 32 years. Their budget analysis came out just today. It's available on their website. You can go and look for it. Type in Raman McRae, review of budget 2022 and see what comes up. It's there. And I want to point out independently, they're not affiliated with any political party. Independently. Just want to point out a couple of things. Raman McRae has said about budget 2022. So all the trenchies watching, the trench crappos, the jagabats watching, y'all can talk a lot of things in the comment. Y'all can say APNU AFC. Right? You're going to say APNU AFC. You're going to say the views are jaundiced, they won't like the budget anyway. What are you going to say about Ram and McRae? And you'll understand why we say a good night to all except Oneidge. You're going to understand because you will see definitively we line on them. But Oneidge, like Irfan, came out today to try to convince us that this centipede, this everyday centipede, this everyday salts is good for y'all. It's good for y'all. This everyday salt. So it's a good night to all except Oneidge. Here are a couple things that Ram and McRae pointed out in their analysis, their independent analysis, in their own deliberate judgment. Mind you, these are the experts. These are the accountants. These are the economists. In their own deliberate judgment. Look a couple of things Ram and McRae pointed out. In the review of budget 2022, Ram McRae says, despite the transfer from the oil fund, the budget and accompanying statements show that deficits will continue for some time to come as many right, will continue for some time to come, rather, will continue for some time to come, as many of the capital projects are multi-year, some of them for as much as 3 years. For the years 2020 to 2022, budget deficits will be some $345 billion. Deficits, we owe. Even by the government's own projection, this is Raman McRae, even by the government's own projections, despite the contributions from oil, the budget will be running significant deficits for years to come. Put on your pipe and smoke it, trenches and jagabats. For years to come. Just this year budget, the money we got to borrow, in addition to what we got from oil, that's what they're telling me, the money we got to borrow, in addition to what we pumped into the budget from oil, will be costing you and your children for years to come. Look what else Raman McRae says about this budget. 2020. The budget speech almost coincided to the day with the publication of the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index. The budget speech almost coincided to the day with the publication of the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index for 2021. The publication showed Guyana slipping in the absolute score with many of the guardrails to detect and prevent corruption, such as the Procurement Tribunal, the Integrity Commission, and the Access to Information Act, either non-existent or under-resourced. And Oneidge telling we got no evidence of corruption. Listen to what Raman McRae said. With the increasing use of cash grants involving billions of dollars, the possibility of corrupt practices and transactions going undetected increased significantly. Oneidge, I know y'all don't like reading, y'all don't like research, y'all don't like analysis and so on. That's why you spend so much of your budget presentation time talking about the APNU AFC manifesto, because you don't want to read what he budgets for you, what he budgets for the Ministry of Tourism and so forth. So you rather bash the opposition. We understand that come easy, but you're going to dedicate yourself to some reading and so on. Look what else Raman McRae said about budget 2022. This is where the trenches and the Jacobats can want to sign off now. Budget focus can simply repeat what it said last year. Clearly, Chris, my guest is in the studio, clearly the private sector commission appears to have had a more favorable response to their request. Before this, the review talked about bodies and entities that made contributions and made requests of the government in terms of how budget 2022 should be shaped. Raman McRae says it's only private sector that appears to have had a more favorable response to their request. In fact, it does seem as if some of the measures announced by the minister in the 2022 speech came straight from the private sector commission's proposal. That means the only people benefit. Raman McRae says it is also clear the PSC, the private sector commission, has an unhealthy sway over the administration. Chris, I hope you're hearing this. The private sector commission, according to Raman McRae, has an unhealthy sway over the organization. And finally, before I got Chris come, before the chief whip comes, here was Starbuck News editorial from today. Starbuck News, that was Raman McRae. You can say Raman McRae now is APNU FC. Because that's how some of y'all think. Ram and McRae is APNU IFC. But take Starbuck News editorial. And after that, y'all can say them. They also is APNU AFC. Take Starbuck News editorial from today. Starbuck News editorial. They're talking about this $5 billion Ali them say they can give towards alleviating the cost of living. UG, for 5,000, 6,000 students at UG, they're allocated about $3 billion for the year. And Ali them set aside $5 billion for the whole country to alleviate poverty. You know why? Because they want to be in poverty for the rest of your life. Here Starbucks News says about this 5 billion. This is an amorphous allocation. You remember Rama McRae just talked about corruption, door to door, because the guardrails breakdown? This is Starbucks News. This is an amorphous allocation and rife with potential for subjective interpretation and discriminatory distribution while not addressing the needs of those in dire situations. A framework is needed for mapping out extreme poverty throughout the country and proactively seeking to ameliorate, to lessen the conditions without creating overweening dependence. Overweening dependence. Every day you want a hamper. Every day you want a 25,000 cash grant. Overweening dependence. There should also be a fund to provide relief to families who experience tragedies that leave them on the edge of existence. That's all we hear. This government has provided such assistance on a case-by-case basis. It's who you know. Right? It's who you know. It's who you're sleeping with in government. Right? On a case-by-case basis. But it now needs a formal structure to accomplish this. 3 budgets later, and Starbucks News is telling us there is no formal structure to alleviate the suffering of poor people in this country. There's no structure. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome my guest for this evening, the opposition chief whip, the one and only Christopher Jones. Chris, welcome. A very good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Cheryl. Good evening to your viewers.
Well, Rama McRae having it, Starbucks News and having it, and I'm pointing out, is not only opposition has concerns about this budget. Chris, you said in your presentation, the disrespectful. Tell us about that.
Right. So essentially, Cheryl, my budget team was centered around the nature of the budget as being disrespectful to the intelligence of the Guyanese people. It is no secret, for years during the PPP, under their 23 years in office, the PPP always treats Guyanese as if they are dunce and stupid. And this budget 2022, does exactly that. And of course, we went through section by section as it relates to the pensioners, for example. All of these fancy, glorious words that they use in the budget. But the reality is that the pensioners are only given $3,000 in an oil-producing cooperative republic. And similarly, as you mentioned, in terms of the University of Guyana, one would have expected that the sum going to the university would increase, because you have to prepare our young people to take up those same jobs in the very oil industry that they speak of. But instead of that, you see almost the same amount that was allocated before being allocated once again. And of course, it speaks to the allocation that was made to the public, well, rather not the allocation, but the lack thereof an allocation to public servants. And I mean, the question was asked in the House, what has the public servants, the policemen and women, and the soldiers of this country did to the People's Progressive Party Civic? Because budget 2022 essentially is the third budget as presented by the PPP from 2020, 21, and 2022. And in those budgets, there is no allocation for public servants. And then they went on to add insult to injury by telling the public servants that last year we give you 7% across the board, as if that is a justification for no allocation in 2022. How could this be? And Guyana is an oil producing country, and the budget happens to be the largest budget ever, $500+ billion, and nothing to the engine, or rather the wheel that moves this engine, which is called our economy, which is the public servants.
Yep, nothing in the budget for public service. And yet, Chris, they're trying to convince us that this budget is good, right? And it's so good, they can spend no time in the presentation talking about it, They talk about everything else. They talk about APNU AFC SOP. They talk about alleged rigging. They talk about you and these barber chairs. I have a fascination with that. They heckle, they use the vilest terms in the National Assembly. But they don't talk about the allocations for the ministry. They don't talk about what they're going to do. Again, I was pointing out to our viewers, our listeners, that Oneidge Waldron, Minister install of the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, 35 minutes allocated and about 33 spent just on APNU AFC manifesto.
Exactly. And listen, if you go back to the budget speeches of several of the PPP ministers, including Charles Ramson Jr., and that is why today in the House, I actually brought from the Hansard department his budget 2020 and budget 2021 speech. And when you go through his speech, there isn't a single term spoken about the policy for youth development, this policy on sport development, or this policy on culture development. Nothing there. His entire speech is laced with what transpired during 2020 elections. There is the APNU AFC, there is Mingo Bingo, there is GCOM, all throughout his speech. And he too, like Oneidge Waldron, had 30 minutes plus 35 minutes to make
Yeah.
a presentation.
Yeah.
So put the argument and to justify this budget like the previous budget, and they continue to fail miserably because inside the very budget has nothing to speak about that. If you go to the budget and you look in areas of tourism, there is nothingness. So therefore, Oneidge Waldron can't defend the budget by speaking about the allocation to her ministry. So what she has to do is spend 30 minutes to speak about the elections and so forth of 2020. Now, let me put it this way. Politics is fair game. And you understand that every politician will throw punches and so forth. But this is the second year since
Yeah.
the installation
Yeah.
of the PPP. You have gone past that. I could understand the first budget after an election that you're throwing punches left, right, and center as it relates to the elections gone. But then the budget after that, you do the same thing. And then 2 years on, you come back to do the very same thing. And as I said, as it relates to Charles Ramson Jr., who is essentially nothing more than the left minister, because none of his programs that we would have seen him pontificating on social media or on the radio happens to be any new initiative from the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports. All of those programs, whether it's the track and field that is being built in Region 10 and Region 6, those are projects from the APNU AFC. That is a left program. And then when you speak about the multi-purpose facilities being constructed in Region 2, 6, and 10, that again comes from the coalition government. When you drive along Mandela Avenue and you see the works that are happening there at the gymnasium, those are works from the previous administration. And then we saw him trying to steal a march, so to speak, at the National Cultural Center with the installation of the seats there. That too is a project from the coalition government. So all of these left projects from the APNU AFC, Charles Ramson for the last 2 years has done nothing else than front it as a project of him. And that is why he has been dubbed the left minister, because essentially that is what he is. Nothing about sports, culture, and the youth policy that he has been pontificating with a sharp suit and looking the part and speaking nothingness. And here it is again, budget 2022. It is expected that when he comes, I think he's speaking on Thursday, that he will come back to hit at me, because essentially what we did is call on the install administration to remove this individual. Because when you compare Charles Ramson Jr.'s performance to that of his colleagues, even though we may not agree with their program and their policy in their respective ministries, they have been making an effort. So you give them E for effort. But when you contrast what is happening with those ministries as it relates to the Ministry of Culture, Youth, and Sport, it leaves much to be desired. Nothing is happening there. We saw several concerts being hosted virtually because we understand the global pandemic. But then the only other thing that we see out of the ministry is football. And that is why we said to the speaker that perhaps we have to rename the Ministry of Culture, Youth, and Sport to the Ministry of Concerts, Kashif, and Shanghai, because that is all that is coming out of that ministry now.
And you know, Chris, you have rightfully characterized it, because we saw something very strange over the last weekend. You know, about 2 weekends back, Kashif and Shanghai had a big backyard party, hundreds of folks there, no COVID-19 rules being observed. We even published a leaked tape that suggests that the Prime Minister them accepted that they dropped the ball with Kashif and Shanghai, and the thing got away from them. Lo and behold, I saw Kashif and Shanghai, them had a clinic by their home doing COVID tests and a whole host of other tests. So you create the problem.
Yeah,
You create
yeah,
a problem, and then you come now to try to look like a saint by doing COVID tests. It's the most bizarre thing. But these are the people.
that's right.
These are the people. They live by a different set of rules. A different set of. I've never seen a man so obsessed with himself and photography
That's right.
than Charles
That's right.
Ramsden. Maybe we should go and open a photo studio.
That's right. And plus, we've seen him in the parliament that when MPs are making the presentation, he's constantly taking photograph and doing these memes or doing a video recording and sending them out. If the man is if Charles Ramsden Jr. is so interested in video editing, perhaps Kwame Mackay can give him a work, a little work at NCN or DPI. He could become a video editor there because he may be best suited for video editing as opposed to being a minister, of which he's doing and I can't use the words here, but he's doing a piss poor job as it relates to that Ministry of Culture, Youth,
Yep.
and Sport. The Ministry of Culture, Youth, and Sports in any country is one of the most important ministries because essentially that is where the crop of the country's future will come from, and of course ensuring that the country's cultural identity is maintained. And of course, gathering those young people who has aspiration of becoming a sportsman or one, and you ensure that you provide them with the necessary resources that is needed so that they can go abroad and represent this country. We are not seeing that from this ministry, except the man pontificating himself on Facebook and on the radio, and coming out of the Ministry of Concerts, Kashif and Shanghai is nothingness.
He certainly, Chris, has to get down to the real work. But also transparent the National Assembly. I know we have submitted a motion against seeking the House to bring censorship to some of the government MPs that really misconducted themselves in December of last year at the passage of the National Resource Fund Bill and the Local Content Bill and such. Certainly, the Speaker says a prima facie case has not been made out. Wow. And these very things are in a motion of no confidence against the very speaker. The fact
That's
that
right.
he always finds a reason to dismiss the opposition motion, always finds a reason to disallow a question, to disallow an objection, always finds something. So, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, we said it in the motion of no confidence in the speaker. So it was expected, as he has done in the past. He has a track record, as you rightfully mentioned, of disallowing motions, questions, petitions, and so forth to be had in the House. Even question of urgent matter of public importance. Like, for example, where we attempted to raise an urgent matter of public importance, which happens to be COVID-19 in a pandemic. And the said day before we made that request, you had the highest number of persons who would have died as a result of COVID, only to be
Yeah.
told by the speaker that it is not urgent and it is not of public importance. As well, you had the motion seeking to on urgent matter of public importance as it relates to the flooding. We've
Yeah.
had
Correct.
hundreds, if not thousands, of our citizenry and farmers who were affected. And we wanted to bring this matter of urgent public importance in the National Assembly. The Speaker of the National Assembly disallowed it because, in his view, it was not urgent. It was not of public importance, even though the public was suffering as a result of the flooding. So it's just an example. Now, what is even more disturbing is that the motion to send 22 of the PPP members to the Privileges Committee. The Privileges Committee is where you have to produce and present evidence and your argument. And it is from that committee that a decision will be made as it relates to that particular member of parliament. So by the speaker himself, again, inserting himself, because he considered himself a gatekeeper for the PPP. He inserted himself and he has already ruled. He has already ruled. And if any one of your viewers, Sherrod, go back to December the 29th and look at any videotape, you will see the Speaker of the House in his seat, Ashni Singh on his feet making a presentation, and every single member of parliament the PPP, the APNU, AFC members of parliament were all standing in the dome. And if you go to the standing order of the National Assembly, it is a gross violation. So each and every single MP that you saw standing there, which includes all of us in the House, are guilty of a violation. Then, too, there is video evidence that we would have shared on our platforms, which shows Anand Prasad, PPP member of parliament, physically assaulting Mr. Vincent Henry from the Guyana Action Party in the House. Then you saw a photograph with the same Anand Prasad sitting on the desk which the maize should be placed. And as a result of him sitting there, that is how the maize was placed on the speaker's desk by the speaker, which almost rolled off of the desk, of which Annette Ferguson attempted to snatch before it fell off. And then
Yeah.
she's
Yep.
brought it to all of this story. It is
Yep.
sad.
You know, Chris, George Orwell seemed to be right. The famous author of Animal Farm, that all were created equal, but some more equal than others. Clearly,
Exactly.
that's demonstrated in this National Assembly. All were created equal, but some more equal than others. Chris, as we wrap up, what do we tell Guyanese tonight? Going to bed, seeing this madness here of a budget, seeing the comments by Raman McRae, seeing the comments by Sabbath News, listening to us. How do they make sense of life in this country going forward?
But you know, one thing I would want to say, Sherrod, is that Rama McRae, Starbrook News, who are not associated with the AP and UAFC, if you look at the track record back when the AP and UAFC was in power, they're not associated with us. But essentially, the Rama McRae, the Starbrook News editorial, and so many other outfits have vindicated the APNU AFC's position. We said it before, we called it before, and here, you know, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And
Yeah.
now Guyanese are eating that pudding that we spoke about the PPP. The PPP cares less about developing the human capital of this country. It is never about the people, never about the people. And as I said on the night of the presentation of the budget, is that it is some 85% of this population, the budget does not target them. The budget is monies for the boys. Many of those huge contracts that they speak of are spoken of in that budget. They have already identified the contractors. Them boys don't know who getting what, and they're just waiting for the passage of this budget to implement.
Next time.
But the rest of the 85% of us, the youths that we talk about, the 280,501, according to the PPP's numbers in the budget book, and they are presented to them a sum of $841.1 million. And if you do a quick division of $841.1 million to 280,501, it is a paltry $2,999 that the PPP is given to youths of this country for youth development. $2,999. And the same could be said about the pensioners as well. We are an oil producing country. If you're serious about developing the human capital, that is where the resources must go. But we understand and we believe that infrastructure development in any developing country is needed. But you have to first ensure that your human capital, that is your most valuable asset, the people of the country, that you ensure that you put them on a sound footing. But to come in 2022 and say to public servants, like they did to the public servants, the policemen, policewomen, and the soldiers, that last year we give you 7%. So shut your mouth. That is essentially now on the theme of this budget, Sharon. The theme read, steadfast against all challenges, resolute in building our one Guyana. Now, many of our speakers today asked the question, what exactly this our one Guyana means. But in my presentation, this is how I sum up what that theme of the budget and what the budget means. The budget essentially means, sir, it means, sir, steadfast against all who are not PPP, resolute in building Pradoville 4, and giving our friends contracts while the average Guyanese suffer. And hence, 2022 budget is most disrespectful to the intelligence of the Guyanese people.
Well said, Chris. Well said. Underline and bold in red. Well said. Chris, I think we've gone over time a little bit there, but I want to thank you, Chief Whip. You've stood on your feet, presented a fantastic budget analysis there in the National Assembly, and then at the end you said you could not offer your support for all of the reasons we've articulated here, and all the independent thinkers and analysts have articulated, could not lend your support to Budget 2020. Thanks for your time, sir.
Most welcome, Sharon. Good night.
Awesome. Folks, that's our program tonight. That's our program. We are so privileged that even though he was doing a lot of work today, it was Chief Whip work, plus presenting a really, really good presentation in the National Assembly on Budget 2022. His contribution, I found some time to be here with us. Folks, that's our program this evening. That's our time this evening. Ensure before you go, folks, you all come and you all lock into the program. You come and you lock in and you get this, you focus. We love that focus. But share the live stream before you go. Smash that emoji button, folks. Share, share, share. And folks, we cannot do these programs without you. Tomorrow morning, we are launching our morning program at 8. Our humble little morning program. We want to keep you guys informed. We want to keep you guys fully satisfied with information, with news. What's happening? We want to keep you guys on the pulse of what is happening locally in the Caribbean and further afield, folks, where you are in the diaspora. So join us tomorrow morning at 8, right here for that new program. Good to see each and every one of you guys. We got several platforms available for you guys to contribute on. I'm hitting down the mic here. Several platforms available. We got the Cash App platform. Our Cash App handle there is in the ring 592. In the ring, the dollar sign in the ring 592. The dollar sign or the dollar symbol in the ring 592. That's our Cash App handle. The dollar sign in the ring 592 at PayPal and at Zelle. Our email is the same at PayPal and Zelle. The email is the same in the ring 592 at gmail.com. In the ring 592 at gmail.com. We're available via MMG, folks. Come on board and partner with us. 627-6963 is our MMG number. 627-6963. MoneyGram, Western Union, available there as well. You guys need any guidance? WhatsApp us at that very MMG number. 627-6963. 627-6963. WhatsApp us for any guidance. Thank you, folks, who've been here with us and partnering with us, helping us to do more. For you, folks, we tell you all, every cent you all give us is spent on these programs. Every cent. We don't even buy a snow cone for ourselves. Every cent is reinvested in this program. Tomorrow morning, you're going to see we've been good stewards. We've been good stewards. Join us at 8, folks. Join us at 8 a.m. I almost said p.m. 8 a.m. And then we're back at 12. Then we're back at 8 in the evening. Join us tomorrow morning, if you can, for that morning program. And we're going to be on with you every day of the week. After then, with the morning program. Good to see each and every one of you. Join us tomorrow morning, guys. Stay safe wherever you are. Get home safe. Get to work safe. Stay safe. Good to see you. Laverne, Harry Chiran, Kelman Passat, Karen Gordon. Good to see you. Candy Naleen Inderjeet, Sandra Hanover, Anthony Higgins Arjun. We see you. Clive Jackson, Lynette Joseph, Marcia Agard, Joylyn Cook. Is it Nazarene? The name flew by so quickly. Warnella Garnett, good to see you. Sean Maloney, great to see you as well. Sharon Castillo Edwards, good to see all you fantastic, beautiful people. Good to see each and every one of you. I want to give a quick shout out to some other folks. Sharmella Carter, Claudette Clark, Gail Allicock, Glensis Chilcott, good to see you. Good to see you. Margaret Nelson, good to see you as well. Philip Bombery, Elizabeth Narain, Stacy Wade, Edward Wade, Angel Wade, come on down. Marlon Thomas, Wendell Henry, Yvette Jarrick, Raquel Peters, Elizabeth Williams, Lynette Duncan, Stephen Pandey, Robert Archer, Warnella Garnett, and Jeremy. Good to see each and every one of you. Ariel Ashby, good to see you. Daniel Passad, good to see you. Margaret Jones, Winston Granada, good to see you as well. Folks, have a fantastic beautiful rest of the evening. May all go well with you. Great to see each and every one of you this evening. Thanks for joining us. Amanda Daniels, Kimo Waldron, Joylyn Cook. A good night to all, folks. Come on board and partner with us. A good night to all, except Oneidge. A good night to all, except Oneidge. A good night to all except Oneidge. A good night to Chisang Henry, Joan Holder, Deion Britton, Valder Robinson, Clyde Jackson. A good night to all of you, except stay safe, guys. Stay safe.